We're back on the second channel with a Vette video, and if everything goes well, it's gonna be the highest horsepower video that's ever been on this channel. Now, when we bought old girl here, she was burned up straight from the salvage auction. The only real positive was it had a blower, and we found a really special engine in it. What we thought was gonna be a 6.2 liter aluminum LS3 turned out to be a 7 liter cast iron LSX built by Steve Morse. So naturally, we scrapped the blower, we built a sick twin turbo kit for it, and set a goal of making 1,500 horsepower without changing anything in the engine itself. Once we got it up and running, we put like 3.5 break-in miles on the thing, strapped it down to the dyno, and even though we had a few issues, made 1,111 horsepower right out of the gate. Which, fun fact, is roughly the same amount of power as 6 Nissan Jukes or 2.5 stock Corvettes. But to hit our goal of 1,500 horsepower, we still need to find an additional 389 horsepowers. Now, on our first dyno session, we learned pretty quickly that we had absolutely zero control over our boost levels. As it turns out, a 7 liter engine with 2 turbos strapped to the front moves quite an impressive amount of air. So much, in fact, that when it came time for our wastegates to open up, dump a bit of exhaust gases, and regulate our boost, they were not at all up to the task. As RPM rose, boost rose right along with it, to the point where we couldn't even run the car to redline as we risked turning our new used engine into dust. But after days of brainstorming with the brightest minds in the shop, we've engineered a plan that should put this boost issue to rest once and for all. Bigger wastegates. That's what we came up with. We're gonna ditch the 45mm gates we were running previously and swap them out with these ginormous 60mm wastegates, which in theory sounds really simple, but we are unfortunately gonna have to undo some of Tim's just phenomenal pipe work.
I'm not an expert, but that's a big difference.
Sound like an expert. An astute observation.
Okay.
First go around, we decided to get a bit tricky with this whole wastegate thing and recirculate our wastegate dumps up into our exhaust. That way we only had 1 pipe coming out of the hood, or I guess 2 technically, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. With these bigger gates, we'd have to completely re-engineer that whole recirculation tube, and unfortunately the juice just isn't worth the squeeze.
The plan here, chop this guy off, weld this beautiful specimen on, and mount the gate hopefully in about the same place.
Roughly, more or less. And then straight up out the hood.
Yes. Chop. Attach.
I mean, that was an explanation in the simplest of terms, but I guess it is accurate. It doesn't look bad.
It really doesn't look bad when you never see it.
Yeah, kind of like it was never there, only you and I are gonna know about it.
And
as I say that, all of them as well. So
and the rest of the world.
Quite a few people are going to know about it. But hey, let's go from the front. First part wasn't so bad. So the issue we're going to run into here, we bought these beautiful wastegate elbows from Motion Raceworks. They are made to go on the outside of a 90-degree elbow, right about like that. Problem is, we didn't put this wastegate on the outside of the elbow, being that we wanted it to sit the same angle as the turbo. Clearly, it's not going to work out at all to stick it like that, so now we have to come up with, I don't know, an alternative plan.
It's quite the head scratcher. But I think the alternative plan is going to have to involve this and a couple pie cuts to push this slightly more towards the turbo.
So as we feared previously, this isn't a wastegate modification. This is a whole new piece of manifold being made. Nice pipe.
Thanks. So, fabrication complete. Now we have this hole that we need to cut out for our new 60mm gate.
Which I must say is a massive, giant, enormous hole. That's not like the old hole.
This piece is super nice. A huge time saver, really nice stainless steel, and is designed to mate up to a 90 perfectly.
You know, after seeing this manifold pipe with a revision for a 60mm wastegate assembly, it's starting to make a lot more sense why we had issues previously. I mean, I can nearly fit a fist in this hole, and just for reference, this was our 45mm wastegate hole. Even though the inlet on the actual wastegate isn't this big, that's just the inlet to our flange, it's still a pretty significant difference when you compare our old inlet size to the new one. One thing to note, I know these are a lot bigger. They're black instead of the red. They were out of stock on the red. We needed these kind of quickly, but in the engine bay, they don't look that much bigger, do they?
No, they kind of have a match to the rest of the style here.
I agree. Even though it had to be redesigned, still looks awesome. We'll knock out the dump tubes later once we know this setup works. And I suppose it's about time to put that to the test.
Broken already.
So the whole dyno thing, that has temporarily got put on hold. Took it up the street and we have no clutch. So we will have to figure that out.
Good job, dude.
It's all part of the shakedown.
That's what these tests are for.
Huh, that'll do it for sure. The adapter to our clutch line popped right out of the end of the slave cylinder. You can see right there that there's still the silver retaining clip in it, and we put like 50 plus miles on this thing before we got on the dyno the first time. So I don't know how it chose to come out yesterday. Maybe the clip's expanded. I don't know. This is our clip. It's been in and out a few times. Maybe it's stretched. Try to bend it down a little bit. Put it back in and hope for the best.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So the whole bleeding thing didn't really work out, did it? One pump done. Sound familiar?
Even experts make mistakes, you know.
I know when you look at a stock master cylinder outside of the car and it's this cheap, cheesy looking plastic unit that weighs all of, I don't know, 3 ounces, it probably doesn't seem to make sense why we'd have used it in the first place, but honestly, I've never had an issue with them in the past. Give her a pull. That ain't gonna work. Not at all. So it's this quick disconnect fitting, which again, I've never had an issue with. I don't know if it's something faulty on this master cylinder or if it's the aftermarket fitting that we used. I'm even more confused about how we put mileage on this car and dynoed it all without issue, only to have it fail later. Can't explain it. Either way, we're done with it. We're switching out to this Tilton master cylinder kit by Tick, and instead of a quick disconnect fitting on the end, it's got a proper threaded one. Now, this whole slave cylinder kit's basically a direct replacement for the factory one. The only modification we have to do is drill one hole in the clutch pedal to change just slightly where the master cylinder attaches to it. Let's go ahead and try this again, see if it might have been Fernando all along, maybe user error.
User error.
User error indeed. I ain't heard anything pop out yet, so you know we're already doing better than last time. Oh yeah, we're starting to get clutchy. This is what it's supposed to feel like. Now we're getting somewhere.
Nowhere.
Good to go?
Good to go.
I know what I'm about to say doesn't sound like good news, but it is. We did one little test pull off camera, you know, get the tires warmed up, see if the wastegates are working. It made 740 horsepower. I know that's like 350 horsepower less than it made last time, but that does mean the wastegates are actually opening. It made like 3 pounds of boost. Now, we should have some control. We can turn it up.
That means too that I'm making 154 more than you right now.
Here we go.
Technically, I got the fastest orange car in the shop.
854. It only made 8 pounds of boost. We gotta keep cranking this thing up. It's gonna make anything. Progress, right?
Yeah.
Progress. That exploded my face. He jumped a literal mile. Oh, okay. 1227. Rick, what do you think we have left in her?
400 more.
That was 21 pounds of boost. This shakes your chest. Like you can feel this. It's gnarly. I don't know what it made. We gotta let it cool down for a little bit now because we've been romping on this thing. Let's get out. Let's see what the news is.
I would not be surprised at all if the cops show up asking about explosions.
Holy 1276. 12 beep. 1276. But look at that. The power, it's early on. This is up towards redline. It fades away and then it kind of comes back. We've kind of came up with a conclusion of why that's happening with the power laying over like that. This engine had a supercharger on it, but we threw turbos on it and we didn't open this engine up, meaning we didn't change the camshaft that's in it, of which we have no clue what cam even is in it, but I think it's safe to presume it's for a supercharger and not turbos. So I do think there's a decent chance. Oh, it's hitting the strap. What a terrible placement. But I do think we might keep fighting that whole power laying over thing. We're gonna ice this car down. We're gonna up the boost even more. We're gonna add some timing. We're gonna do everything we can possibly do to make as much horsepower as we can and just see where it ends up. We couldn't have strapped this in a worse place. That is cold, like really cold. Now, we didn't show it, but after we did all those back-to-back pulls, we came up here and touched this intercooler without any ice in it, and it was not hot. What do you estimate it?
75-ish.
This thing works. The sheer intercooler, it is nice. I mean, you can't put your hand on a blower. You touch Fernando's blower after he does half a dyno pull, and it's gonna melt your hand off.
Yes.
After doing all these dyno pulls, this is like that rare moment of calm in between pulls when you're icing stuff down. I'm sure it comes across on video as hectic as it is here. We're running around. I got Rick from Big 3 in my ear. He's tuning the car. We're trying to make sure everything's staying together. Trying to make sure the cameras are working and not getting blown out like Fernando got blown out by that flame. It is quite the cluster here.
I'm just glad that my car is not at the dyno because
It's
having
stressful.
that stress, oh my God.
It's stressful.
No, thank you.
All right, that was 27 pounds of boost. Let's go see what it made. 1,382 horsepower.
Wow.
Rick just said there's more in it and asked me if I want to keep going.
Yes.
What do you guys
Yes.
think? Yeah.
Say
Yes.
it.
Yeah. Definitely. You saw a big prolonged fireball here, right,
Yes.
Fernando? Smells like fuel to me. All these fumes that were coming out of our catch can caught on fire, which looked awesome. Probably not a great thing, so we're gonna dump this out. Last time was 27 pounds of boost. It's still on 27 this time, just a little more time. He spiced it up a little bit. Well, that's not more. It's actually, I think, what, 5 horsepower less. I don't know if it didn't like the timing. Not sure exactly what happened there. Rick has left us with a choice. He said, if you want, I can add a little more boost. I mean, we do want, right?
30
But
pounds.
I don't know how much it's going to be. We got a little more boost in her this time. He didn't sound like not confident, but there's an implied point when you're going along with your tuner that you know if something blows up or something breaks, it ain't on him anymore. It's like, you sure you want to do this? Yeah, let's do it. So, all right, should we take one last look at the engine just in case?
To the moon!
One way or another, that's it for now. Let's go see what it made, all right? It's more. It's not all the more, but it's more. Power's climbing at the top end, and it lays over. And while that power's just staying flat, boost keeps rising. That's right up top. It peaks at, that's saying 28 pounds of boost. That is a lot of boost. And unfortunately, on this upper half, we're not getting anything for it. It's just giving it more boost. We're not making any more power.
You're not putting a cam in it.
I don't know, I might have to, man. I might have to put a cam in it. So, oh man, that's so tough. Because the goal is to do all this without opening the engine, right?
Yes.
But
How many likes to put a cam in it?
what, are you a YouTuber now? What is this?
Yeah.
Hold on, I did that to him.
Yes.
And,
He did you dirty on
yeah,
that.
I don't know, 1 like, I'll put a cam in it. Now, I think it's important to keep in mind that we're talking about not hitting our goal. If we just made 1,388 horsepower, what's that put us like, right? I don't know, it's probably up there, right?
Yes.
So we have a tough choice here. Do we try to do something to the engine and see if we can make it, I don't know, flow a little better, put an appropriate cam in it, and try to make that 1,500 horsepower? Or do we leave it as it sits and take it to the track?
Take it to the track.
You didn't even hesitate.
What do you got to say about that?
I don't know, man.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
This is not planned at all. We just came back to film the intro, and we have the why are you involved with this? He had the amazing idea to I'm gonna send it to a burnout
To test it.
because
Just for funsies.
we are ready for the track, right? We're
Yeah,
trying to
making
get
sure
it
it's
ready for
the
it.
track, exactly.
And
Put it in the air.
he
it in
he's
the air.
trying to do a burnout, but tires aren't spinning.
So yeah, the decision was track or more power. I think it just turned into fixing whatever we broke in the frickin' parking lot first. So yeah, I think it's just that axle right there, right? That grease ain't supposed to be out there. It's supposed to be on the inside. Actually, that one looks kind of funky too. Wait, is that coming from inside?
Sounded like it.
That don't sound like an axle, does it?
Not really, but how can you explain that? That's weird.
That looks normal. It's definitely that sounds coming from the diff though. Like without a doubt.
No chunks came out.
No chunks came out, but you know, it sounds like a good thing, right? I do have to say that this is not the first time that I may or may not have blown a ZR1 differential. Actually, the last Inferno Orange ZR1 I had, blew that thing up and nothing came out, except when we got inside, it was an absolute mess. Damn. Well, but I guess we know how the next video is going to start. See you guys then.